Movie buff number 6. Oh, yes. The Wolverine. Finally. The Wolverine we've all wanted to see. I've been a fan of this character since I was little, okay? Probably one of my favorite all-time characters ever. Hugh Jackman's been playing this character for damn near 2 decades, okay? Think about that. He's been playing Wolverine for almost 20 years. I've been at every single premiere, every single X-Men showing. I mean, I'm a true nerd, especially when it comes to Wolverine. Hugh Jackman is just, he's the man for it. I mean, he was built for this role, okay? There's just, especially this movie. And everybody says, and he even says, you know, this is his last one. If that's true, man, what a way to go out. Because he killed it. Killed it. For every Logan fan, okay? Logan, Wolverine. This is the movie you want to see. He goes berserker. It's rated R. Okay, every Wolverine always should have been rated R. He's a very damaged character, okay? It's deep, there's heart, there's comedy. Wolverine's very sarcastic, even in the comics, he's very snarky, okay? This movie hit on all levels, okay? We already know Hugh Jackman's been playing him. Basically, this is a dystopian future, okay? It's like 2049 or whatever. And Wolverine, his adamantium, which is what his claws are made out of, okay, is starting to poison his body. He's had it in there so long, he's getting old, his claws are starting to poison his insides. So he's not healing like he should. I don't really know if it's affecting his overall mutant ability, like his sense of smell, his animalistic stuff, because he didn't really seem to use that very much, so that could be the issue. But he's not healing as fast as he usually do. He's battered. He's worn out, okay? This is a worn out Wolverine. First 5 minutes of the movie, okay, this is going to be rated R. This is going to be rated R. Sick action. Sick action. I mean, literally everything you wanted to see. Hands sliced off, feet sliced off, face. I mean, it's literally everything a Wolverine fan wants to see. Or any fan, for that matter. I mean, the action is all there. But he's basically, like I said, he's down and out, okay? Mutants are all but gone, which they kind of address, that Charles Xavier, Professor X, he probably killed most of them, at least 7 of them, in a I guess as he gets older, he has a degenerative brain disease, like a cancer. And since he's basically the most powerful mutant on the planet, with the most powerful brain, when he can't control his power, he basically has these seizure-like moments, and he's just locked up, and it kills everybody around him. Like, not within just a couple feet, I mean, like, a radius, like an entire city could be killed out. So he's basically a weapon of mass destruction. His brain is basically a weapon of mass destruction. He's wanted. They basically tried to weed out all mutants other than the X-Men. Regular mutants that just were born, they're weeding out the mutant DNA in ways like putting not necessarily pesticide, but putting chemicals in our foods to weed out that certain molecule that makes people mutants, that some might carry. So mutants are all but gone, and Wolverine is basically protecting Professor X from any kind of like government coming and getting him, or just helping him. I mean, he can't, you know, he's wheelchair bound. Obviously, he can't walk. But he's in bad shape. They're both in bad shape, okay? But, yeah, I mean, you can tell he's just really been through it, both of them. And their plan is to basically get out, get out. You know, he wants to buy this boat and just get out on the water and just, you know, get away from everybody. Well, that's the plan, but this little girl comes along. Who was the actress that played this little girl? She was fantastic. They don't have her listed in the cast, but she was one of the reasons the movie was made. I mean, this little girl has dagger eyes, okay? Like, I mean, she played that role to a T. Perfect, okay? And I know the X-23 character from the comics. They hit it on the button, okay? But anyway, she comes into the picture, and basically you think like, oh, there's this mom that has this mutant child, and she wants to save her from, you know, them coming to get her, basically making her a weapon and stuff. Wolverine doesn't want to have nothing to do with it. He's like, nope, been there, done that. Don't, you're not my problem. I don't need this. I don't need this shit. Well, turns out that, you know, his soft heart, you know, because Wolverine, he's a big-hearted guy. At the end, he always wants to help. He always wants to do right. She gets him to help, basically. And the whole movie is a kind of Terminator 2 style. Protector protecting someone, trying to get them away from, you know, basically the main villain, which in this case is like an army, basically like the government. Essex Labs, which goes on with Sinister for all you big comic book nerds, but Sinister's not in the movie. They kind of replace him, but they do kind of egg drop, you know, that little name in there for Easter egg. But he basically, they've turned these kids into weapons, kind of like Weapon X. So Wolverine can very much relate to this little girl. In the comics and in the movie, this is his daughter. Okay, this is his derivative from his DNA, James Howlett, which he uses in the movie. That's his real name, which throws back into Wolverine Origins. And even they do a little bit of throwbacks from the other Wolverines when he went to Japan in the last movie. They have the samurai sword kind of all dusted and rusted and stuff in his little house and stuff where he stays. So they try to connect it, all the Wolverine movies. They do a pretty good job. Even Professor X is like, when I found you were Cage Fighter. Well, that was referencing the first X-Men movie ever. So they do a pretty decent job of piecing all this 20-year history of Wolverine together to figure out how he became like this. But like I said, the movie is them basically protecting X-23, which her name is Laura in the movie, from Essex Corporation, which goes under a different title, but that's who it basically is. They make weapons for the government. The guy that plays it, the main villain, his name is Boyd Holbrook. Awesome. I thought he was Johnny Depp when the movie started. I mean, he's suave as hell. Gets in the car, as I live and breathe, Wolverine. You know, just so money. His character was so money. I loved every second he was on screen. He has this metal hand. Really cool character. He's a Reaver from the Old Man Logan. They kind of followed the Old Man Logan story, which is a graphic novel comic book. He's a Reaver, kind of basically like this ragtag team of cyborgs, basically, almost like a Hell's Angels that were, you know, genetically enhanced with machines. But they're after the girl, and I mean, they've got all the weapons you could ever think of. But that it doesn't help them. Let's just put it that way. Like I said, the action in this movie is second to none, and that's not just with Wolverine. The little girl kicks serious ass. I mean, she's on par with Wolverine. I mean, you know, because she has claws, she has foot claws and stuff. I mean, she has adamantium skeleton. She's Wolverine's kid. So I mean, everything that he has, she has. She's in a younger version. But anyways, they're basically kind of going on a road trip. They think that they can find this certain safe haven for these mutants. And they kind of throw back a reference to the actual X-Men comic books, like I grew up reading and stuff, which was super awesome. But that's where they are basically trying to get to, is called Eden. It's kind of like a safe haven for all these kids. And at this point, we don't even know how many kids made it out of this laboratory escape, but we know that Laura's out. And basically, they're trying to get there, and it's got a lot of funny moments in it. But like I said, the action is just insane. But they have a lot of encounters. You know, Professor X, he's got to take these meds to keep these seizures from happening so often. There's this one part, basically, they're in Oklahoma City. What? And it references Oklahoma City a lot, too. It's pretty awesome. But they're in this Oklahoma City hotel, and Professor X has a seizure, and basically time just, like, stops, and everyone's just kind of, like, you know, freaking out, like, basically frozen in time. You know, their brains are, like, kind of exploding in their head, kind of. And they're dying pretty much, and he has to have like this shot that will kind of, you know, bring him back a little bit, because I mean he has kind of like Alzheimer's. He doesn't even remember where he's at or what he's doing if he doesn't have these pills, or if he does have these pills, he's kind of loopy. He has moments of clarity in between, but man, Wolverine, he's more than us, you know what I mean? So it slows him down. Okay, so he's fighting through this whole time, and you know, he's stabbing the walls, you know, trying to move toward the room so he can get the serum, you know, in Professor X or whatever. But all these guys have already beat him to the punch, and they're normal humans, they're Reavers, so they're stuck. And you see this guy's got his hand on the trigger, and his eyes moved Wolverine, because that's all he can move is his eyes, and he's like, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble, because Wolverine is just coming for him, and he just sticks him, and I mean, just mutilates. Like I said, this is rated R. The kills in this movie are brutal. Okay, it's the brutalest I've ever seen. But they get back on the road. They kind of have this meeting with this family, and they do a good deed, and it's kind of like no good deed goes unpunished or whatever, but you kind of get a sense of, you know, what it should be like for people, you know, that have a family and stuff, because this girl's never had anything. Logan's been, you know, had this crazy life, and you know, they're both on the edge of just reality and just, you know, just struggling to hang on through life. And they get this nice little moment, which, you know, in your head, something's gonna happen. These people are about to die. You know what I mean? That's just how it is with movies and stuff, and you get that cue. But as old as Wolverine is, and as messed up, I mean, he still had a pretty, you know, he was still pretty jacked up. I really liked his frame and stuff. He wasn't as conditioned as he was in Days of Future Past or some of the other movies, but he was still, for the most Hollywood standards, pretty in shape, you know. Had scars all over his body. Obviously his body's not healing like it should and stuff, but as he quits drinking, he starts, you know, his beard gets darker, you start to see him less limping and stuff. So I don't know if he's, you know, basically trying to kill himself is kind of what I got the gist of, but he kind of realizes he has a purpose to protect this little girl, so that's kind of his main goal in the movie. And he kind of, I mean, I wouldn't say he sobers up, but he does in a way. He stops trying to kill himself in a sense, because he knows that he is all she has. Okay, and there's some sad parts. There's some definite sad parts. I don't want to ruin anything, but there are also some crazy twist. I mean, I'll just say this. Wolverine versus Logan. Okay, picture that. Old man Logan, who we know is playing in the movie, versus a younger Logan, a younger Wolverine, not even a Logan, not even the consciousness of any part, just rage, just straight rage, okay? Battling it out more than once, and it is awesome. Okay, they have such crazy scenes in this movie, and like I said, when the action is up, it's an 11. it's an awesome movie. We saw it in the IMAX. I had tickets, you know, a couple weeks out, so we weren't stressed to get there. Yeah, had awesome seats. It was perfect. I give this movie a 10, okay? I give this movie a 10. It was perfect on all levels. It made me laugh. It hit emotional depths. It brought me back all the way from childhood, you know, and it's not corny. It's not cheesy like some of these other X-Men movies have been. Mangold killed it, okay? There's a reason why it's got such a high critic and, you know, viewer score, is because it is awesome. Go see this movie no matter what, okay? No matter what you do, go see Logan, because it is more than worth the price of admission. Guaranteed you will not be let down. You might have some wet eyes at the end of the movie, but it is worth it. It is worth the ride. I can't say enough about this movie, man. I loved it. I will probably see it again. But yes, definitely check it out. I don't care if you're an X-Men fan. I don't care if you're a Wolverine fan. I don't care if you're a Hugh Jackman fan. Go see this movie. You're going to love it. All right? This has been Movie Buff number 6.